Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mormon Atheist. Today is December 29th, uh, 2025. Okay, so apostates, we are doing a series on William Morgan's book. For those of you just joining in the series, this is episode 18, chapter 16. Episode 18, chapter 16. Okay, so I want you to, let's see, hold on one second. Chapter 18. To write this shit down, keep track of them. There's so many of them. All right, we're on page 82, where we left off in the last video in William Morgan's book, Illustration of Masonry. Okay. Those of you that are return viewers, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those of you that are new to the channel, welcome with complete open arms. Thank you for subscribing. So the last episode where we left off, right? So we left off on page 82. And we were talking about Jubella, Jubello, and Jubellum. They are the three ruffians. Okay, and the three ruffians, and we are explaining, William Morgan is explaining the death of Hiram Abiff. Now, you remember in previous pages and previous episodes, William Morgan is questioning the death. He's saying there's no literature of any kind that says anything about the death of Hiram Abiff. And so then he goes in, to the speculative Mason explanation of the death of Hiram Abiff. Okay. And Jubella and Jubilee, or I'm sorry, Jubella and Jubello and Jubellum are the ruffians. Okay, so let's continue on page 82. What shall we do? There are three of them, and only three of us. It is, said one in reply, our cause is good. Let us seize them. Okay. Remember, this is the same story as William Morgan and Laban in the Book of Mormon. Okay. On which they rush forward, seize and carry them to the master, to whom they relate what had passed. The master then addresses them in the following manner. In quotation or parentheses, Morgan says, they in many lodges kneel or lie down in token of their guilt and penitence. Well, Jubella, in quotations now, well, Jubella, what have you got to say about yourself, guilty or not guilty? Answer, guilty, my lord. Jubello, guilty or not guilty? Answer, guilty, my lord. Jubellum, guilty or not guilty? Answer, guilty, my lord. Okay, think of the trials of William Morgan, and think of the trials of William Morgan, right? Jubellum, guilty or not guilty? Answer, guilty, my lord. The master to the three fellow crafts, who took them? The master to the master to the three fellow crafts, who took them. Take them without the west gate of the temple, and have them executed according to the several imprecations of their own mouths. Okay. They are then hurried off to the west end of the room. Here, this part of the farce ends. Okay. This part of the farce ends. Okay. It's language like this, it's words like this, the sentiment, right, that I talk about in all my other videos that has been removed from these stories in later editions, later scholarship, later, etc., right? This stuff is what's been removed out of the story, right? Here, this part of the farce ends, right? He's telling you the stuff is all being created, right? Once again, it's over and over again, repeatedly. This stuff, it does not exist. There is no such thing as Freemasonry. They are creating this, right? All of these ceremonies, all of these things, right? All of these symbols, all of this stuff, okay? It's all legit being created. Here, this part of the farce ends, okay? The master then orders 15 fellow crafts to be selected from the bands of workmen, okay, and sent 3 east, 3 west, 3 north, 3 south, and 3 in and about the temple, in search of their Grand Master Hiram Abiff. In quotations, in some lodges they send only 12. When their own lectures say 15 were sent. And charges them, if they find the body, to examine carefully on and about it for the master's word or a key to it, right? Remember the master's word, right? Or what was the key, okay? The 3 that travel, see, this is an example of what I start talking about, or what I am talking about in this code, right? So Morgan previously explains to you what the master's word is, okay? But now he's just saying the master's word. So now you should know this, right? This is how this story starts to progress from here. Okay? He's already told you what the master's word or a key to it is. You understand me? So unless you know that, you're going to go on this wild effing goose chase of what is the master's word or what is the key, right? This stuff is so strange. It's so bizarre. Okay, there lies your conspiracy theories, where he is legitimately telling you what this stuff means, okay? And then it progresses into the wording of just plain talk, right? 1827 plain talk, right? Now they're just saying the master's word or key because you already know, he already told you in previous pages, right? So when we get to Bernard and Southwick, Okay, they use similar wording, similar language, right? Because you should already know this. Southwick and Bernard are not like explaining to you Masonry. They're warning you against the implications of it. So they're different themes, right? So for the Master's Word or Key, the three that travel a westerly course come to the candidate and finger about him a little, and finger about him a little. I wonder what that I wonder what that means. And finger amount about him a little, and are called to order by the master. When they report that they have when they report that they had found the grave of their Grand Master Hiram Abiff, right? Remember the previous episode where talking about the explanation of the death of Hiram Abiff, okay? And on moving the earth, right? This is the story of Alvin, okay? And upon moving the earth till they come to the body, they involuntarily found their hands raised in this position, showing it at the same time. It is the due guard of this degree, right? It's the due guard of the Master Mason. Remember in previous pages, previous episodes, we talk about the due guard. I show you a picture, all that stuff, right? To guard their nostrils against the offensive effluvia, EFFLUVIA. Okay, it's a corpse. All right, they got it like to, okay, which arose from the grave, and that they had searched carefully on and about the body for the Master's word. Okay, this is being created, apostate congregation. He's telling you this, so this story is complete bullshit. But nonetheless, this is the story that they are saying. This is the story that the Masons expect us, me and you, to buy. Okay, remember, we're talking about speculative Masons, the religious institution of Freemasonry. Okay, the Church of Masonry. Okay, so they dug up Hiram Abiff's body in search of the word, but had not discovered anything but a faint resemblance of the letter G on the left breast. Okay? The master, on the receipt of this information, okay, remember, the master is King Solomon here. The master, on the receipt of this information, raising himself, raises his hands 3 several times. Okay, they're acting this out. Remember, they are legit acting this out. The Grand Master of the Lodge, the master, they are legit acting this out right now. Okay, raises his hands and 3 several times above his head, as herein before described. Remember? And exclaims, "Nothing but a faint resemblance of the letter G!" Exclamation point. Nothing but a faint resemblance of the letter G? This is not the Master's word, nor a key to it. I fear the Master's word is forever lost! Exclamation point. Nothing but a faint resemblance to the letter G! Exclamation point. This is not the Master's word, nor a key to it. I fear the Master's word. Okay, I did not repeat that twice. It is legit written twice. Okay. remember, he exclaims, right? Nothing but a faint resemblance of the letter G, exclamation point. There is nothing there that is not the master's word, nor is it a key to it. I fear the master's word is lost forever, exclamation point. Nothing but a faint resemblance of the letter G, exclamation point. Okay, that is not the master's word, nor the key to it, right? So he's saying this twice on purpose. Okay. In quotations, the third acclamation is different from the other two. Attend to it. It has been described on page 76. Go back to page 76. Nothing but a faint resemblance to the letter G, exclamation point. This is not the master's word. Okay, page 84. Nor a key to it. O Lord, my God. Is there no help for the widow's son? Exclamation point. Right? It's different. He's telling you. The master then orders the junior warden to summon a lodge of entered apprentice masons. Okay? And repair to the grave and try to raise their grand master by the entered apprentice grip. They go to the candidate and take hold of his forefinger. Okay, now I want you to think of the Testaments of Solomon here. What, like in the Testaments of Solomon, okay, when he's talking to the demons, right, he throws, when the servant, right, comes to Solomon and Solomon says, what ails you? Okay, and this demon, whatever, right? And he goes off, okay? Well, then he goes and he gets the demon. He throws the ring, right? The pentagram, right? The seal of Solomon is the pentagram, okay? The 5 points of fellowship, right? They throw the ring at the demons, and the ring binds the demons, okay? And then the demons come back, and the line of questioning that Solomon gives the demons. Demon so-and-so, what ails you? Who binds you? All this kind of stuff, right? Okay. Remember the servant, okay, in some stories, the demons are sucking the thumb of the servant. Okay. So they go to the candidate and take hold of his forefingers and pull it. Return and tell the master. They tell the master that they could not raise him by the entered apprentice's grip. That the skin cleaved from the bone. A lodge of fellow crafts are then sent, who act as before, except that they pull the candidate's second finger. The master then directs the senior warden generally to summon a lodge of master masons. Okay, you have to understand the levels here. The apprentices are the missionaries, so they send them in first and they try to give them the word, right? They're not conforming, okay? So they sent in the craftsmen, the magicians. They're still not conforming. They still can't find the word, right? So they got to send in the big guns, right? Okay, you got to follow along with this, right? That the skin cleaved from the bone, right? Okay. A lodge of fellow crafts are then sent, who act as before, except that they pull the candidate's second finger. The master then directs the senior warden generally to summon a lodge of master masons and say, okay, think of the testaments of Solomon, right? I will go with them myself in person and try to raise the body by the master's grip or lion's paw. Okay, or lion's paw. There you go. That's our first reference to the master's grip as the lion's paw. Okay, so far on page 84, the master's grip is the lion's paw. It's also called the lion's paw. Raise the body by the master's grip or lion's paw. Some say by the strong grip or lion's paw. Okay, so some lodges say if you do the master's grip strong, that's called the lion's paw. Okay. Then they all assemble round the candidate. The master having declared that the first word spoken after the body raised should be adopted as a substitute for the master's word. Okay, they're creating this for the government of the Master Mason's Lodge. Remember the government, the political implications I talked about in previous videos. Okay, your allegiance is to the lodge, to the church, not the United States, not the Constitution. This is 1827. That's what the political movement, the anti-Masonic political party, was all about. It's a warning against this religious institution of Masonry and them infiltrating the government, okay, and implicating their communistic order on the common people, okay. Here it's telling you this is our first implications of the master's word for the government of the master's lodge. We've had implications in prior pages to the intent of the lodge and their political ambitions, right? Now we're saying it's a substitution for the master's word for the government of the Master Mason's Lodge in all future generations. Okay. These books are talking to us, congregation. We are William Morgan. Okay, they're telling us this stuff. In 1827, they're warning us against this. This is what has been taken out of the story. This is what's been removed, the sentiment of what these books are like really trying to say. He proceeds to raise the candidate. Alas, the representative of the dead body of Hiram Abiff. Okay? Do you understand that? They're acting this out. He proceeds to raise the candidate. Alas, the representative of the dead body of Hiram Abiff. He, the candidate, has raised what is called the 5 points of fellowship. Okay? Which are foot to foot, knee to knee, breast to breast, hand to back and to mouth, and hand to back and mouth to ear. Okay? This is done by putting the inside of your right foot to the inside of your This is done by putting the inside of your right foot to the inside of the right foot of the person to whom your knee is to his, laying your right breast against his, your left hand on his back, on the back of each other, and your mouths to each other's ear, for those with ears to hear. In which position alone you are permitted to give the word and whisper the word Maha. Maha. Mahhah. Okay. And here is a picture. And we're going to get into the grip here in a minute, but there's the picture of what you're supposed to do and whisper the word Maha. Okay. Keep track of these words, congregation. This is our first reference on 84 to Maha. Okay. You whisper it in his ear. Oh, I'm sorry. Mahabone. Mahabone is the word. You whisper the word Mahabone. Mahhahbone. Mahabone. My apologies. I messed up. The master's grip is then given by taking hold of each other's hand as though you were going to shake hands and sticking the nails of each of your fingers into the joint of the other's wrist where it unites the hand. Okay. That's the position, the handshake right there. Okay. So there you are right there. You're whispering Mahabone. At the same time, you're gouging your nails in the dude's wrist. In this position, page 85, the candidate is raised. Okay, what's our time? All right, let's keep going. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, congregation. The candidate is raised. He keeping his word, or I'm sorry, page 85. The candidate is raised. He keeping his whole body stiff, as though dead. The master, in raising him, is assisted by some of the brethren, who take hold of the candidate by the arms and shoulders as soon as he is raised. As soon as he is raised to his feet, they step back, and the master whispers the word Mahabone in his ear and causes the candidate to repeat it, telling him at the same time that he must never give it in any manner other than that in which he receives it, right? So you're never supposed to give it unless you're receiving it, right? With the hand of the 5 points of fellowship, right? Okay, the 5 points of fellowship come up again and again and again. This is the representation of the pentagram. Okay. But you have to remember, congregation. Okay, the pentagram, you guys all have like this shocking, like, the pentagram, it's satanic. No, it's not. Okay. If you're saying the pentagram is satanic, okay, And we are legit talking about King Solomon, the son of David. Okay. And the three Abrahamic religions are, constantly in battle on who is superior. The Abrahamic religions, okay? They're all trying to get to Solomon's temple, right? So if you say, and you have to understand, this stuff is the testaments of Solomon, the treaties of Solomon. That's what this is based on. So if you're going to call this stuff satanic, by that same logic, since we are very much talking about King Solomon and therefore King David, you have to say those Abrahamic religions are also satanic. But you have to understand the pentagram is what is binding these demons, right? The seal of Solomon is what binds these demons. Okay? In the testaments of Solomon. So the pentagram is not this evil thing. Okay? It becomes this evil thing because what works. They don't want you, this stuff obviously works. Okay? Because the keys of Solomon is legitimately the Christianized version of the Greek magical papyri. So they've been doing this stuff for legitimately thousands of freaking years. This stuff goes all the way back to Medea. Okay, the Bronze Age. All right, this magic. So this stuff obviously works because think about like in the Bronze Age, you're talking like resources. You're expending energy, you're expending, to do this stuff. And if this stuff did not work, they would not do this for thousands of years. Okay? Right? And these books are the Christianized version of the Greek magical papyri. All magic roads lead to these books. All modern day magic lead to these books, which in turn leads to the Greek magical papyri. Okay? So understand what Solomon is about and what the pentagram even is, right? And the pentagram is all over the Mormon temples, right? So, like, it's a legit thing. This is like a legit thing, okay? So you can think of the pentagram for whatever you want, but then once again, if you call this satanic, remember this goes to the Bible, right? So in the Old Testament, there is no Satan. Satan is a New Testament character. There is no Satan in the Old Testament. There is, however, Lucifer. Lucifer is not Satan. Lucifer becomes Satan. Okay? You have to understand this stuff, right? And they very much knew this, right? Because you got to think, man, the Bible, the King James Version was in the 1600s. You were not allowed to possess a Bible before the 1600s. What was it, like Tidwell? I think was it Tidwell? You can fact check me on that, please. But somebody wrote the Bible, and then he was killed for it. And then later on, right, somebody translated the Bible. so people could read it. And then later on, and he was killed for it. And then some years later, it was like fully translated into the King James Version, right? So that person, that martyr, okay, praise that martyr. So, anyways, you got to understand this stuff. This stuff all goes together, right? This, you got to like follow these. And stuff is historical. You guys all know this. This is all historical stuff. All right, let's get going, congregation. Enough of me rambling on. Okay, so we're talking about the handshake, sticking the nails in the guy's fingers or in the guy's wrist. In this position, the candidate is raised, so ears to hear. 5 points of fellowship. Okay, here we go. Master to candidate. Brother, foot to foot teaches you. Okay, here we go. We're going to explain the stuff, the process of the shake, right? Because this is a process. Okay. The master to the candidate, brother, foot to foot teaches you that you should, whenever asked, go on a brother's errand. Okay, foot to foot means teaches you that you should, whenever asked, go on a brother's errand. This shit's pretty complicated, I mean, this is some complicated stuff. You got to remember all this. If within the length of your cable toe, even if you should have to go barefoot or bareheaded, knee to knee, that you should always remember a master mason in your devotions to Almighty God, right? Remember, the Almighty God is the grand the grand master, right? The letter G, remember, represents geometry and the grand master, not God. So here, remember a master mason in the devotions to the Almighty God. Okay? These are the 5 points of fellowship. These explaining what this stuff means. Breast to breast, that you should keep the master mason's secret when given to you in charge as such, as secure and inviolable in your breast as they were in his own before communicated to you. Hand to back, that you should support a master mason behind his back as before his face. Mouth to ear, that you should support his good name as well behind his back as before his face. After the candidate is through with what is called the work part, okay, in Mormonism, the work is very, very important. You're constantly doing the work. This is why Christians have a problem with Mormonism, is because Mormonism requires you to do the work for Jesus. You have to work for Jesus. Where in Christianity, in the Bible, Jesus did the work for you. He died for you. He did the work. Okay? That's the difference right there between Christianity and Mormonism. Jesus did the work for you already in Christianity. He was crucified. In Mormonism, we're not allowed to carry the cross, right? It's looked down upon. The cross is looked down upon. But there's pentagrams all over the place. Okay? I remember being a little kid, and you were not allowed to wear the cross as jewelry. Like girls Back in the day, it was cool to have your ear pierced. Okay, well, I had my ears pierced, and I was not allowed still, even though I had my ears pierced, I still was not allowed to wear a cross or a cross necklace or anything like that, right? I never wore necklaces. I never liked necklaces, but I wore earrings. And to be honest with you, I didn't even like cross earrings. I thought they were pretty lame when dudes wore cross earrings. But anyways, let's keep going, congregation. What's our time? We're almost done. So let's keep going. Page 85. Face to face. After the candidate is through with what is called the work part, the master addresses him in the following manner: Brother, you may suppose from the manner you have been dealt with tonight what we have been what God, what we have been, what have been, fuck, man. All right. Brother, you may suppose from the manner you have been dealt with tonight that we have been fooling with you, or that we have treated you different from others. Okay? What are they notorious for? Othering people. Okay? But I assure you that that is not the case. You have this night represented one of the greatest men that ever lived in the tragical catastrophe of his death, burial, and resurrection. I mean Hiram Abiff, the widow's son, who was slain by 3 ruffians at the building of King Solomon's temple, and who, in his inflexibility, integrity, and fortitude, never was surpassed by man. The history of that momentous event is thus related. Masonic tradition informs us that, okay, remember, we are talking about speculative Freemasonry, a religious institution of Masonry, a church of Masonry. Okay? There is no such thing as Freemasonry. They are creating this. So here we say, or here they are, here Morgan is saying, okay, what the lodges implement, their story, the Masonic tradition informs us that at the building of King Solomon's temple, 15 fellow crafts, think of the testaments of Solomon here, the fellow crafts, the demons, okay? 15 fellow crafts, discovering that the temple was almost finished and not having the master mason's word, became very impatient and entered into a horrid conspiracy to exhort the master mason's word. Page 85. From Grandmaster Hiram Abiff. Okay? Think of the testaments of Solomon. The first time they meet him alone or take his life, they might pass a master mason in other countries and receive wages as such. Okay? Receive wages as such. You got to pay your dues. You got to pay your tithing. Okay? But before they could accomplish their designs, 12 of them recanted. Okay, think of David Whitmer, Oliver Cowdery. These guys recanted, right? But the other three were base enough to carry their atrocious designs into execution. Their names were Jubella, Jubello, and Jubellum. Okay. It was the custom of our Grand Master Hiram Abiff every day at high 12 when the craft, okay, think of the magic, were from labor to refreshment. Okay. What does that mean? From labor to refreshment. That's the time of day, right? Because remember, the day is divided into three, right? Think of the magic, think of the deacons, right? These are deacons. Okay. And yeah, in labor and refreshment to enter into the sanctum sanctorum. Okay, that's the middle chamber of Solomon's temple, and offer up his devotions to the ever living God. Okay, that's the Grand Master, not God. Okay, and draw out his plans and designs on the trestle board for the crafts to pursue their labor. Okay, the crafts are the magic. On a certain day, not named in any of our traditional accounts, Jubella, Jubello, and Jubellum placed themselves at the south, west, and east gates of the temple, and Hiram, having finished his devotions and labor, attempted, as was his usual custom, to retire at the south gate, where he was met by Jubella, who demanded of him the master mason's word. Some say the secrets of a master mason. Okay. Some say the secrets of a master mason. Okay. Who demanded him of the master mason's word. Okay. Remember what the word is. Some say the secrets of a master mason. And on his refusal to give it, Jubella gave him a violent blow with the 24-inch gauge across the throat, on which Hiram fled to the west gate, where he was accosted in the same manner by Jubello, but with more violence. Hiram told him that he could not give the word then because Solomon, king of Israel, Hiram, king of Tyre, okay, remember the king of Tyre, who is king of Tyre, okay, in the Bible, and himself had entered into a solemn league that the word never should be given unless they three were present. Okay, the word should never be given unless Solomon, king of Israel, Hiram, king of Tyre, and himself had entered into the solemn league that the word shall never be given unless they three were present. But, okay, all right, apostate congregation. Let's see. I think we are going to end right there. I think my headphones just died. So we're going to end right there. We are on page 86. Let me charge up my headphones, take a break, and we will be back as soon as they are charged up on page 86. That sucks because this shit gets good. We get going good. All right, apostate congregation, I'm sorry. I apologize. My headphones are about to die. Well, they are dead. The one just died. So that means the other one's going to follow here pretty soon. All right. Anyways, like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell because I come on at complete random times. And we're going to do another episode tonight. So let's do another one tonight. And let's roll. Just give me some time to charge the headphones, and we'll continue. So we are William Morgan. In the words of the late great Solomon Southwick congregation, we are William Morgan. The ashes of Morgan will rise again, is what he says. Okay. Thank you. Like and subscribe to the channel. And after these messages, we'll be right back. Wah, 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 wah.